Friends, welcome. You are all aware knowledge prospers all, and let's learn something new. In a series of misconducts, today we are going to see, friends, workplace abuse. Well, this is a misconduct which can be fitted in an act which is subversive of discipline as at the same time even insubordination. See, everything cannot be depicted in the standing orders. The items are limited, but as there are n number of judgments of the apex court, well, we can fit it into one of the heads of the standing orders. Today, friends, we are going to see what is workplace abuse. Today is a world where everybody has got a self-respect. Everybody has got an ego. And what people do, workmen basically, we are considering misconducts by workmen. And many a times it so happens it hurts somebody's ego, rightly or wrongly, and then he abuses his superior. We are going to understand this misconduct and what is the law governing it. What are the various judgments they say about it? What are the repercussions of it? In order to understand what exactly is an abuse, and as I told you, well, vocabulary of a person is very rich. His voice, his tone, everything can be abusive. And these are some of the things which we are going to see in this misconduct of workplace abuse. And now, friends, see, as far as Indian Penal Code is concerned, we have section 504, which deals with an intentional insult, with an intent to, say, provoke breach of peace. But this is not exactly what we contemplate under misconducts. Here it is something different. Just envisage in front of your corporate office or a shop floor, and in this shop floor the manager comes to the workman, and the workman, what he does is he just abuses him, maybe for some work which is given to him or whatever. Now, friends, in labor law the word misconduct has a specific connotation, and it means much more than inefficiency or slackness. It is a deliberate attempt of an incompatible conduct. That would be a misconduct. And here, well, you are supposed to respect each other. And even under the Constitution, we are having fundamental right of speech and expression. But speech of expression does not mean you can talk anything with anybody. You have to respect authority. You have to respect hierarchy, so as to not fall within the four corners of this misconduct, that is workplace abuse. As I told you, this can be fitted in insubordination. This can also be fitted in an act which is subversive of discipline. But then the misconduct, workplace abuse, remains. Now you see, there is no straitjacket formula which could be evolved as to whether the abusive language in a given circumstance would warrant dismissal. Yes, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and then this is an abuse and this is equal to a dismissal. No. It doesn't operate this way. What is workplace abuse? What is the abuse? What is the time, place, circumstance? Everything has to be seen. Strata of society, and we'll see all of these things in a few minutes, friends. Now you see what happened in 2019 is very late. Very lately in Hindustan Liver Limited versus presiding officer. This is one of the latest cases, I would say. I would not call it as the latest one, but in one of these latest cases, it was held that amongst such a class of people, that is the workmen as a class, such a language is very common. Now, you see, it's not in the fitness of things. It would spoil the decorum of this video, and the listeners also, that I just call out some bad words. No. And moreover, friends, let me be very frank with you. My vocabulary as far as bad words is concerned is very, very limited. But then the strata from which workmen come, court is holding that these words are very common, which might be offending to you, which might be offending to him, which might be offending to her. It all depends on time, place, circumstance, and the termination imposed is meant to give a clear message to the society at large, and more so to the employee, that such things will not be tolerated. Yes, he may come from a different society, he may come from a different strata, but then what happens is that, yeah, you have to respect the say, for example, the authority, the hierarchy. Otherwise, under the garb of I come from this strata and I come from that strata, this should not itself be be a garb or an excuse or a defense which is put forth, which will give a escape route to each and every employee. That certainly is not to be seen. Now you see what happens is, so let's see some instances of abuse. What can be the instances of abuse? Abuse, say there are severe instances which would culminate into fighting or even a physical assault. There is a tutu meme. The manager comes, manager has got his own deadlines, he has got his own targets to complete. And what the manager does is he imposes whatever are the work parameters, that these are the deadlines you are to meet. What is this? What's happening? The worker abuses him. It might end up into a fight also. These are severe forms, I would say. And then the most common form is bullying. Or what is bullying ultimately? There are people amongst us also. We try to bully one another. Means what? We try to oppress him. It could be by words, it could be by language, it could be by gestures. One person tries to oppress the other or just has a show of a superiority. We have seen friends also. Sometimes they don't really have a point, but then he tries to subdue us in the argument. He tries to bully us. Then there is, say, a harassment which could be sexual. We are going to deal with sexual harassment as an independent subject itself or in an independent video. So I'm not talking much of it. But then there could be a harassment, whether it could be sexual or it can be otherwise also. Or it can be an intimidatory behavior. What is an intimidatory behavior? Intimidation, from which comes the word intimidatory, means a scary behavior. Just think, there is a lady manager and then there is a worker, and when she comes, he just makes some gestures on his face, just puts his hands on his mustaches, just say a bit of hair, which will intimidate that the lady officer or the lady manager. But ultimately, intimidatory behavior remains some behavior with an element of intimidation or a scary behavior. Another could be, say, acting in an overtly aggressive manner. Some people are so aggressive by nature that even if he talks in a simple fashion, it appears that he is trying to be very, very aggressive. Some have arrogance on the tip of their tongues itself. Maybe he has a gruff exterior, but he is a gentleman from inside. But then this has to be seen, and moreover, what you talk or what is your tone is not important. What is the outreach or what is the response or what is the effect on the other person, that is very important as far as such behaviors are concerned. Then friends, one thing is horseplay. What is horseplay? Horseplay is rough and rowdy language that might lead to injury or damage, or even he may damage items at the workplace also. So horseplay is rough and rowdy language. There are people we see, some cannot be gentlemen, that is also sure. And then when it comes to workmen, we give him an opportunity to improve and this and that, and then it's a series which goes on. First, what we do is we give him an opportunity, and then say if he improves, it's okay. So a warning, then a censure, then say another penalty, then suspension, and ultimately then it has to lead to somewhere to dismissal. Now friends, threatening superiors. Threatening superiors or using derogatory, abusive language is a serious threat to discipline. So what's so funny about it? Yes, he abused him. So what? No, it's a threat to discipline, and threat to discipline or any tampering with the element of discipline will not be tolerated is the common thread which goes through all of the judgments. Threatening a superior, how dare you do that? Because that is going to disturb your discipline. Then you see friends, unless such people who abuse and browbeat. Now you see, what is browbeating? Browbeating is scaring by arrogance, just by looking, a hostile look. That itself is an assault. Somebody gives you a lingering look, just keeps on looking at yourself. Don't try it elsewhere. But if somebody if he just keeps on looking at you, that itself is an assault. A lady manager coming on the shop floor, we are proud that Indian girls and sisters, they are working in every walk of life, but protection also has to be granted. And then there is a lady manager and one worker keeps on looking at her in a hostile manner. Well, that also is a sort of an abuse. Now you see, unless such people who abuse and browbeat and then their colleagues or their superiors, unless they are punished severely, that too, then if this is not done, then the working atmosphere itself is vitiated. We should have a safe working environment. We should have a proper working environment, whether it's male behavior or whether it is female behavior. And the causes, what does this cause? If there is no indiscipline, the greatest loss is to the company itself. So the company is first at loss. Without discipline, no company can prosper. Okay.